What would you recommend people do when they want to leave Fiat for good? And I say this as somebody who was looking at a stack of resumes this morning of people who just want to work for Runster, and Runster being an app that was born of your NOS Fabrica challenge last year. And I see people and I go, okay, these are solid Bitcoiners, and I guarantee you, every single person here, whether they've communicated it effectively or not with the job application, they want to get out of Fiat, and this could be their first step. And to me, that's super exciting to
Hmm.
see. So what would be your advice to someone who's like, okay, I'm where Avi was. I'm miserable. This is not congruent with my values or ideology. I know that I can do something in Bitcoin. I bring skills to the table. But I think, like for me, I didn't have a bad job. So it was like, cool, I can part-time it in Bitcoin. I got my Bitcoin job. Nobody cares what
Hmm.
I'm doing. And it's like, uh, but it gets hard. You get into a rut because, yeah, it does pay the bills, or you have some kind of security and stability and a family to provide for, maybe, or you're comfortable because the job's not bad. And you go, oh, well, how do I get to the
Yeah.
next spot? How do I get from Fiat to
Yeah.
Bitcoin so there's no looking back? At some point last year, I realized I was going to get a Bitcoin job and there was no going back from that. And that I had to
Hmm.
understand and grasp that. And once I grasp that there's no going back to Fiat, that was the mindset that broke everything open for me and got me to where I am now. So
Yeah.
I don't know what your advice would be.
It really depends on what stage of life they're in. I would
Mhm.
say if someone's in their early 20s and they don't have, or early mid 20s, even late 20s, and they don't have any dependents, just do
Yeah,
it. That
do it now.
don't do it now. Don't
Yeah,
even like don't if you truly believe in the movement, what are you doing? What are you waiting
make
for,
this your
right?
life.
So
Do it. Proof of
make this
work.
your life. You just do it. I think it gets a little trickier if you have a kid who's depending on you, right? And
Yes.
or more than one, multiple kids depending on you, and you need to do right by them. And I think then even that splits into a few scenarios. One is if your job is pleasant enough, or not horribly unpleasant, and you have enough time to do stuff on the side, then just do that, right? Just do that.
Mhm.
Uh, Mind that fiat, save, live as frugally as you can, save the rest in Bitcoin, knowing that if
Mhm.
nothing else, that Bitcoin's going to be life rough for you in a year or two, and your job's not killing you. So, and you have time to work on, at least for a few hours
Yeah.
a week, on what you like. That's actually, in some sense, a really good scenario to be in. So that way you
Yeah.
do it, 2 years, 2 or 3 years, you've stacked enough. You're like, okay, you know what? I have enough runway for a year, because number does go up over a long enough time
Yeah,
period, right?
it does.
Uh, so I bought myself a year. Now I can go all in for a year and make this happen. I think so that's a good scenario. I think the trickiest scenario is when it's a decidedly toxic job and you don't have a
Yeah.
stack to fall back on and you have dependents. What do you do then? I still think the right choice there is not to kill yourself, because you want to be there as a parent
Yeah.
for your kids. You want to be present. And if the job consumes you, you won't be able to do that. You're better off as a
Yeah.
guy with no savings and no job, but a present parent versus a dead parent, or there's someone
Yeah.
who dies of stress.
Yeah, there's a trade-off to everything, and
Yeah.
it's like, well, I don't have a child depending on me. My adopted, kid, she is an adult, so she's got her own life. I was already freelancing, so like the way that I got in where I am is because I freelanced my way up into a full-time job working at Soapbox. But
Hmm.
I started freelancing working at Wrigley, and then started freelancing working at Soapbox while I was still doing B2B social media at an agency.